Hi, I'm Priya, and today I'm going to talk to you about eclipses and why they are one of the most important events in the astrological calendar. Now, eclipses are believed to bring about fated or destined events, like what's meant to be will be. Now, I like to think of eclipses as a course correction, I guess, in life, where you're happily plodding along on one path and it's like, boom, suddenly the universe is like, nope, you're now on another. And as the moon rules emotions in astrology, like it's quite helpful to think of eclipses as like a normal moon, but on steroids. And it's designed to intervene by stirring up emotions that are going to force us to change whether we liked it or not. So I used to sit around waiting around eclipses and think, oh, there's going to be this like big bang moment and something's going to happen. And what I've learned over time is that it's actually not a big bang moment at all. It's actually lots and lots of little things. It's the things that you hear, the things that you think, the things that you feel, the things that you're seeing, like the things that are coming to light. It's just innocuous conversations, like a friend sends you a message, like you just happen to watch a TV program. It's just like the little thought process that goes off. And around eclipse times, the energy is so potent that I like to think of it as like a bit of a pinball machine, when you put the ball and you flick the thing and off it goes. It's just like everything happens really fast. Like things that would have taken months is now happening straight away. And you're thinking like, okay, maybe we should move house and maybe we'll just get an estate agent around and see how much our house is worth. And next thing it's like you've had an offer, you're now going on viewings for your own house, you've now found the dream home, and 2 months later you're calling removal companies or something like that. So, things that seem like, oh no, that would never happen. Oh, I'd never just move to another town. It's like, oh no, suddenly you are. Like, and that's kind of how it tends to work. So eclipses usually occur over generally a 2-3 year period. And it's like a personal storyline of yours that is evolving over that time frame. And they'll happen in opposing signs. So each zodiac sign will have like different eclipses at different points, but the ones that are currently happening in 2022 are in Scorpio and Taurus. Now, within the typically 2 year time frame, there'd be like 4 eclipses, generally 6 months apart in whatever signs they're occurring in. And it is important to note, by the way, that that can vary. It's not always 4 eclipses, it's not always 2 years, but generally that is how they tend to work. And each eclipse is, I guess, like a new chapter within that storyline or that book about that storyline that's occurring in your life. Now, the fact that there's a series of 4 eclipses is one of the reasons why I encourage people to take notes around eclipse time. So at least a kind of month before and kind of a month after, like take notes around, like even if you're just putting this into your phone, like take notes around what's happening, like just so that you can look back at future eclipses, because 2 years is a long time. You're not going to remember everything that happened in that time, so you'll be able to use those notes as a, okay, around this eclipse the first time this was going on, so maybe you'll be able to join the dots a lot easier. So that's probably the most important things that you need to know about eclipses in terms of things that you can do to prepare for them. Now, when they occur, generally eclipses tend to involve the new moon, which will be like a fresh start or a beginning. I like to think of it as like the seeds are being planted. So right now you're jacking the beanstalk and you've got these seeds, you put them in the ground, but you don't know yet that it's going to become a beanstalk that's going to take you on to amazing things. So that's your general new moon. And if you are taking notes, it's quite difficult around this time because it is literally like the smallest things that you're looking out for, like just something that people might mention or things that you've just read somewhere. So it's quite difficult, but hopefully you'll get better at that over time. And full moons on the opposite end of the scale, which tend to occur 6 months later, are the culmination of that chapter. So the full moon will bring things to light that will suddenly force you to act or do something with this information that has now occurred to you. And, I'm not talking like this is top secret, MI5 stuff. It's just, it's like, oh, that job that my manager mentioned months ago that might come up if he can get the head count suddenly is occurred. It's now on the job board and maybe you therefore should apply for it. So, and that's another way that eclipses tend to work because the chaotic energy, it's kind of like, it will stir you up and like just push you to extremes, I guess, in terms of like if you've say got the home and family and career eclipses, your home life and your career are suddenly going to explode and both are going to need you. And then it's like, in between, there's some sort of resolution and something that will, I guess, around eclipses, you're being asked to release or give up something or end something. So, this is where that something will have to give. And that's the surprise to find out what that's going to be. So, if you know your top three signs from your birth chart, you'll be able to take a look at which houses are being impacted, or like which parts of your life are being impacted. Often they'll have synergies with each other. So if you do have like an eclipse in your first, second, and third, like I'd try to kind of think, how could these be weaved together with what's actually going on? And is there something happening in my life that would touch upon all three? Because sometimes that can be the case that they are linked. So that's something to look out for. And another way that you can use eclipse information is not only for the predictions of what could be coming up in future eclipses, but you can also look back at big life events that have happened in your life, and to look to see if there was eclipses around that time, and that might be able to tell you if something was fated. So, did you have a seventh house eclipse around the time that you happened to get engaged or married, or did your partner have that? Because maybe that was fated around that time, or maybe there was eclipses in yours or your partner's fourth house when you were moving house. So that's just a good way for you to be able to look back at um, events that have happened, to know if they were maybe meant to be. But I hope you found all of this information useful. And if you want to know how to find out your top three signs, check out my video on my YouTube channel, which will tell you how to do that. There's also a video which will tell you on what all the different houses mean. So that will be helpful for you to use as a reference. And if you're following me on Instagram, you'll be able to see what signs are in which house whenever there's an eclipse. So it'll be easier for you to keep track. So hope you found that interesting, and see you soon.